back to this main event, of course. Okay, maybe that's not the sauciest buildup in the back and forth between them. Gane has said repeatedly this week that he trusts his own ground game. He respects Aspinall's ground game. Is this even something we have to think about? Will this fight go to the ground on Saturday?
I don't think so. If he's being sincere and telling you that he doesn't necessarily think he wants to drag him into a long fight or anything like that, somebody's going to go down. It's probably going to be him. I don't think it goes to the ground.
I think it does go to the ground.
You think so?
Yeah.
But who initiates that?
Aspinall.
Oh, as a way to take advantage of a suspected weak spot.
Yeah, like just to blast him off of his feet. Aspinall subbed out Volkov from on top with a straight armbar.
That is true.
He's well-rounded. I'm not saying it like as sometimes we treat it like, oh, he'll take him to the ground as like a refuge. And I think of it more like he might mix it up, take him to the ground and like really put a hurting on him there, actually. I don't see it as a weakness. I see it as a display of a multitude of strengths.
Yeah.
Aspinall's dad kind of broke down in Countdown that his initial strength was the wrestling. But we don't see Aspinall have to use that a lot. So it's really hard to tell. I know he's that 3 submission wins as a pro, but
this all goes back to the lack of tape, right?
That's what I mean.
Just don't
yeah,
know.
that's what it is right there. When we talk about what they're fighting for, obviously we know that for Gane, it's in some ways to save the trajectory of his career and finally live up to those expectations. For Aspinall, it's to cement that the hype was for real, and now we can get back to business, and we may have a historically relevant heavyweight champion for all we know if this continues. But in terms of like who's next, I know the Rosenstrike. Good Lord. I know the Jalton Almeida Volkov fight that we're going to get to could very well produce the next title contender. But are we expecting the Jon Jones comeback tied to the White House, potentially against Pereira, to be an alternate thing separate from the title picture at the moment? Or is there a chance that Gane and Aspinall are fighting for a potential fight against either one of those?
It feels to me, if I'm being honest, not so much in what the actual paper says about what the fight is. What the paper is, this is a full weight class champion in a title defense against a challenger. But it still feels like this is the interim championship, and if Jon ends up fighting Alex at the White House, that's almost seen as like, again, not formally the championship, but the most important heavyweight fight that the UFC could put together. Certainly the one that the fans, I would imagine, would have the most amount of interest in, which is weird because it'd be one light heavyweight coming up all the way from middleweight, essentially, versus a guy who ducked the other guy who's been out.
And you're punishing the guy that he was ducking.
Yeah. There's a question here. Like, BC, let's see what happens here. Let's imagine Aspinall wins, but it's somehow not like a very interesting fight or a mandate. And then you have a Jon versus Alex fight at the White House, and whoever wins, it's exciting and thrilling and like hugely momentum building. You just can't tell me that whatever they say, whoever has the belt, fine, but the stature of it confers importance, and that importance would be heavily tilted towards that event, the White House event.
Look,
You're trying to get like resolution in the heavyweight division. Imagine what that would do. That would just like.
But can you justify it? Because like as much as I hate what Jon Jones did and how he handled it and the length and everything, and now he wants to be back, and it's just like, oh God, him against Pereira is a monumental fight, no matter how you frame it. But you're right, that would we would consider that almost the heavyweight championship.
Can you imagine a non-title heavyweight fight being significantly bigger and more important than the heavyweight championship of the world?
We've just had 2 straight heavyweight champions vacate the belt, and they had the potential to be 2 of the best of all time in Ngannou and Jones.
Can they do it, though? Like, you were mentioning a scenario where he gets by Gane, but, like, he goes in there and he crushes Gane. Like, can they still do that? I mean, to put him aside at that point would almost feel promotional malpractice, right? Like, you have a guy who you should be 100% behind, who's smoking everybody that he faces, and he can't get into that big fight. Like, that would be crazy, wouldn't it? Then the absurdity of that?
It would be absurd, but is the flip side that if Gane pulls the upset here, that brings Jon Jones to the White House for the belt in a rematch?
Yes.
That would be the story.
But
like,
see, that
in terms of rewarding behavior,
timing is everything.
But that's like throwing a dolly through a window in Brooklyn and getting the biggest title fight ever as your reward.
That can't happen.
The only caveat there is Dana White himself finding Jon an unreliable partner to promote.
That's the
one thing that no matter what happens could derail that plan. But dude, I mean, again, I said it before. It's one thing if Jon is floating a fight. I don't want to fight the champion. I want to fight a light heavyweight, blown up at heavyweight, even though at that time he was the champion. But that's not the case anymore. And now Poatan is the one lobbying for it, which totally changes the dynamics of how that fight is being perceived. what the UFC will do, I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
What
but
if Jailton Almeida, for instance, like a new blood coming up, wins? You know, he wins convincingly. Aspinall wins. Right now, you have like a guy within those ranks who's coming for him. Right? Could they do it then? Could it be like, okay, now you got a 2-piece, you got
You can't
Jones,
do it on the same card, or
not
you're
on the
just pissing on the heavyweight
well,
champion.
maybe that's what they could do, right? Like they
Yeah,
could
you
do
put
something
Aspinall
like that.
Europe against Almeida.
I think if Aspinall goes in there and annihilates Gane, that changes the equation.
I agree. I'm just going through the hypotheticals.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. The absurdity when at the very top, I was like, the absurdity if he goes in there and wins, the absurdity of like who's waiting in the wings and all that comes into play. I think Jon Jones at that point, it's they're firing pistols at his feet.
Okay,
You're like,
who
if
do
you want to come back, that's your guy. You have to face
can
him,
it
right?
be helped along? I was going to ask you who Aspinall. Let's say he knocks out Gane in the second round, and he's going to have a call out ready. What do you call out in that spot? Do you say, F you, John, you had your chance? Poetan, you want to fight for the heavyweight title, become the 3-division champion? I'm your guy. Meet me at the White
It'd be
House
smart
lawn.
for him to do that.
Well, but also you don't want to be left out of a Jones-Pereira super fight.
I think, though,
So
that's
do
the
you
play.
call out John? Like, what do you, or do you call out the UFC?
I don't
dude?
think you call out a name. I mean, if you want to, you can. I don't know about John, but I mean, you call out Poetan or whatever you
You
want.
can't say, hey,
That'd be
matchmaker.
That'd be
But no.
brilliant. That's a trolling job. Like you're saying, dismiss Jon
here's
Jones.
what you do. You put the ball in the UFC's court and you say, I've seen what Merab has done. I want to do that at heavyweight. I had one fight in 2024. This division's been on ice, and I'm here to thaw it out.
Amen.
Make me active. Put me back in there in 3 months, and I feel like you'll kind of get this resolved to a degree.
Jon Jones, get your shit together. Long Island Luke, before we give our predictions, we want to hear your betting analysis here. You do have Gane as a big, for a title fight, this is a pretty big underdog. Is there any value in going Ciryl Gane?
It's just, you guys talked about all the unknowns of Aspinall. You just can't put your money on Ciryl Gane in this position.
Not reliable.
Not to mention the Blades injury. Remember, 15 seconds in, like that always comes into play in heavyweight. Like guys can get hurt. So
Exactly. I took Tom Aspinall in a parlay. It is a very chalky parlay, but you got to do what you got to do here. I kind of want to dabble with a Ciryl Gane spread bet, but I don't think this goes the distance, so I don't think it's even worth it.
What's the parlay?
The parlay is Aspinall money line, Umar money line, bless you, BC, and over 2.5 in the co-main. It's plus 115.
PC's allergic to your
parlay.
picks.
I am, very much so. LT, I want to go to you first. How does this fight end? Who wins?
Probably Aspinall. Probably second or third round. Probably TKO stoppage. That doesn't mean it's on the feet. Could be on the ground, pounding him out. But again. I mean, if he goes in there and gets chinned, would you be like, wow, I never saw that coming? But I don't think that's the likeliest outcome.
Or if he gasses out in a back and forth spirited kickboxing
But
duel.
like Ciryl Gane has good cardio, but not amazing cardio. Like that's not a thing.
I know, it's tough. It's like, look at who we're relying on. He's coming here off of the worst scenario and circumstances.
Gane is the kind of guy that looks real good when when the opponent's fundamentals are real bad.
Sure.
Because he has athleticism, and there are certain dimensions of the game that he can be quite technical, like with the jab and then angling off, he looks pretty good. I don't think Aspinall's that guy. I think Aspinall's and by the way, Aspinall, I'm sure you watched the countdown for UFC 321 where he's like, I've not been competing, but I've definitely been working steadily. Curious to see what he's got. I'm gonna say third round stoppage, Tom Aspinall.
Chuck, there's a rumor that you've been watching episode 1 of UFC 321 embedded on like loop.
I haven't even seen it, but I draw these strange parallels of. I try to think like
that says it right there. I don't know. Yeah.
What's this? Oh, here we go.
What's embedded episode 1?
Oh, you didn't see it yet?
No.
It was
what
like
is it?
UFC's attempt to cash in on Dern's high value.
2 minutes of Dern by the pool.
All right, so it
Like,
sounds like I will at least.
like,
have
and they
that on
followed
the
her
loop
from
coming up.
behind. Like they did the full.
Okay.
They put her in the thumbnail.
I always want to draw these parallels because I think that the heavyweight division is finally like you talk about heavyweights traditionally in any kind of combat world. It's the sport, like that's the division, right? And I feel like you compare this with Ngannou kind of out there and Jon Jones out there, and you have Aspinall to the 70s in boxing, where it was like you had all these guys, and I keep seeing Ciryl Gane as like this Ron Lyle or Jimmy Young type figure, right? Like a guy who's always fighting those guys, but he's not beating them. And I feel like that's where maybe this is like that romantic side of like how you look at the game, but I'm like I feel like that Aspinall is in that spot to kind of like say this is a real era of something happening, and he can be that guy. And when he says that he's been training and he's not letting his guard down and all that, I really believe him. So I'm definitely taking Aspinall. I think it happens fairly early within 2 rounds.
I was going to ask, we're all taking Aspinall. I'm taking him by TKO stoppage. I'm just wondering, will it come in round 3 where we get to see him pushed at least to a point we've never seen?
You
or
guys
see
are
him have
calling-
to work for it. But the more I think about it, the more I watch Countdown, the more I just like really look at tape, I'm like, nah, bro, this is a second
Yeah.
round, if that. TKO win for
You guys have
Aspinall.
already designated Gane a donk something. What are you guys calling him? You got the donk.
I just called him Count
Donkula.
Donkula.
Okay, Count Donkula. I mean, if he goes in there and he gets smoked in the first round, I think he'll earn that nickname because this is the one thing that everybody's like, okay, the suspense of this fight is what happens if it goes a little deeper into the fight.
And
right?
he's like, no, I'll show you that I can take him out in round 1. That's where I was like, hey, dude, like,
yeah.